Good afternoon, beautiful people of the great southern land, beautiful people of the world. Lucas, broadcasting live from the Ark Sanctuary with Dusty, Star, and the chickens at the front door. They're growing well because they're being supported. They're growing well because they're being supported with food, shelter. They're growing well and they're providing. So I just sort of had another insight that I kind of wanted to share because the more supported I feel, the more I feel I want to support others and help and share. Right, so when I feel supported, then I'm in a position where I can support others. When I don't feel supported, then I'm in a defensive position where I feel I need to support myself because I'm not getting that support from others, right? So, as with my post that I just wrote, when I feel supported, I feel much more empowered and free to be me, right? Which in turn helps me better support thee. Be supportive to all without chasing their ball. You know, I really believe that we are all in this together. It doesn't matter what side of the fence it appears that one sits on. It doesn't matter if they're a public officer just doing their job, or if they're a person who's lost their business, who is trying to fight for their rights, which is literally just doing their job to survive, right? So everyone appears to be just doing their job, and everyone appears to be in the right according to themselves. And everyone's looking for support from others. Which means that they're lacking or feeling a lack of support. So the more we support each other, right, the more we can tame our impulsive desires to blame and attack others. I wonder if we can find ways of turning those impulses around and attempting to support others. You know, how imagine how it would change, right, if instead of arguing and yelling and fighting at these gatherings or confrontations, imagine if, you know, the people were to turn around and say, I see you're just doing your job, and I'm here, you know, doing my job and protecting the livelihood of my families. I'm doing my job as I must do, yeah? And your job is kind of in conflict with my job, so how can I support you without surrendering to you? How can I support you in what you need to do so that you can support me? Because that's what it needs to be. It needs to be a unified support system. Yep, not divided by clothes, books, flags, colours, races, opinions, beliefs. Fully supportive of each other. And when we support each other and our cups are full, then we can support others and fill their cups. And that is, in a sense, a way to bring about unity. Yeah, support. Hi Sally, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comments. So that's sort of it on that one. I'm going to go through a couple of my comments because I put posts up, and I know that intention or translation can get lost in words and the way people perceive them. So I'm going to go through a couple of them maybe and see if I can explain them. Sometimes in the grand scheme of things, some things are necessary, no matter how uncomfortable. You know, and humanity's going through this massive shift at the moment. It's happening, yep. And we'll never go back to what it was. And, you know, the only thing certain in life is change, right? So, do we embrace the change and work body, mind and spirit for a more symbiotic future between humans and nature, or do we continue or try to revert back to the destructive path of consumerism that we have all been on? Yep. You know, we must learn to trust in nature and trust in divine and trust that everything is there provided for us. It's up to us, but we must work in community, in harmony, in synchronicity with nature and with each other in order to achieve this thing. And what's going on now is a massive awakening, which is being expedited and brought about by the way the system is operating at the moment. It is bringing about a massive awakening. So therefore, you know, because the awakening is the most important part, the awakening of the soul is the most important part, because the soul is the eternal part, therefore it is the highest jurisdiction. Yep, the material, the temporal, is a transitory jurisdiction in order to grow the soul, which is eternal, hence the higher jurisdiction, right? So, not saying things in the temporal and the physical aren't important. Yes, they are very important, because they are how we learn or choose not to learn. So every single challenge in this temporal realm, yep, is an opportunity for our soul's evolution and growth, yep, which is eternal. And through my experience, the greater the challenge, the better the insights and understanding, if I choose to look at those challenges objectively from an external point of view, rather than getting emotionally bound and tied up in those challenges and situations, right? Do I choose to rise above it and use it as a learning experience and a growth experience for my soul, or do I choose to get bound up in it and caught up in it and subject to it? Am I subject to it, or am I learning from it from a higher perspective? Yep. And these are the free will choices that we are all endowed with on this earth plane, right? I put another one up with the pictures of Anubis, right? So we have the dogs here, and what they are is they are guarding the passage to the afterlife, yep. They are guarding the tombs of the dead, right? They are guarding the dead, okay? They guard graves, they're guarding the dead, right? And in this system we are in, right, the dead, again, are the people who don't know their names. Yep. They're legally classified as dead. Anyone who claims a name that is in all capital letters is legally dead, because they do not know who they are. They do not know that they are not that corporation, right? They do not know they are not that dead entity, therefore how can they be living according to them, right? So the dogs, which is what they call, which is what the illuminated ones or the Illuminati or the elites is what they call their police officers and military. They call them dogs because what the dogs do is guard the dead entities, or the legally dead, yeah, the people who don't know themselves, who don't know Christ. They don't know Christ's name, yeah. They don't know their Christian name, or whatever religion it is they're in. Yep. So the dogs, or the public officers, and I don't use that term derogatively against police or public officers, but this is what the elite refer to their military and police. as their dogs, because they heel like a dog, right? They do what they're told when they're told. Yep. That's what a dog does. It heels, it sits, and it does what it's told when it's told, right? If it's trained that way. If it's trained that way, okay? So the dogs guard the dead. Yep, that's again why they wear the upside down pentagram. That's why they're defined as demons, right? That's why bestiality is legal in Canberra, because it is a part of the satanic system that is in place to govern the dead, the legally dead, the people who don't know who they are, they don't know God, right? They don't trust God. They have human masters. A license is a permit. It is permission. You are asking permission from another man. Therefore, that man is your master, and your master is your God. Okay, that means you have shunned the divine creator, and you have abandoned faith in the divine creator, and you've put your faith and you beg for permission from your human master, your human God. Therefore, you have broken the first commandment of the 10 commandments: have no other gods before me. So in this situation we are in right now, how does one get out of the satanic system? Because that's what it is. Yep. By very definition, this isn't just a theory. This is the legal, lawful definition and what it is, because they are there to govern the dead souls, right? The legally dead. So all the politicians, they're all part of that system, right? All the corporate people, all the lawyers, all of them are part of that satanic system. Yeah, and they are there to govern and control and teach, yeah, spiritually the legally dead, right? They have duties and obligations as well, and restrictions and restraints, okay? But that is their role. That's why they're called dogs, because they guard the dead, right? So in order to get out of that system, one must understand, they must know themselves, yeah? Know thyself, and the truth shall set you free. Yep. You are not a corporate entity. You are not a dead entity, okay? You are a living human being, but you must make it known, yeah? You must renounce the contracts which put you onto their ship, their citizenship, or their slave ship, yeah? You know, your master's ship, that's what you're stepping onto when you claim citizenship, or you go and beg for a license or permission to do something that you already have the innate right to do as a child of divine creator God, yeah? You already have that innate right just by being born, yeah? But when you go and beg for permission from another master, another God, then you are no longer in the house of the divine creator God. You are now in the house of the master, which is controlled by man. Yes, 666 is the number of man, which is the number of Satan. Okay, what is it? 6. There's 3 sets of 6 molecules. I can't remember, but 666 is the number of man, which is the number of Lucifer, Satan, right? Therefore controlled thereby. Now, being property of Satan, holding the licenses, holding the birth certificates that are capitalized, that become assets and property of the Vatican. Yes, that's who owns it, right? Apparently, that's where it seems to be leading. All those dead entities belong to the Vatican, right? The Vatican is neither good nor bad. Yep. It gives the opportunities to the people. It presents, yep. And it's an offer and acceptance or an offer and denial. It is up to the individual to know themselves. All right? So, how does one get out of it? They must know themselves, yeah? They must know their standing as man, yeah, woman, whatever it be, yeah? Under the authority of the divine creator, not under the authority of man. Because as soon as you submit yourself to the authority of man, yes, by asking permission, then you are under the rule of that man or that organization. And if it is the Vatican, yeah, that is the owner of those souls, or if it is Satan that is the owner of those souls, again, I'm not saying the Vatican's good or bad, but they control both arms, right? So, what was I saying? You cannot have two gods. You cannot have two masters, yeah? It is either man or creator. So, you can send back all of your documents, yeah, that are owned by them. Send it all back to them and give it to them, right? You can write your own terms and conditions in there if you have, you know, the proper reasons or for whatever it might be. I can't tell you what to write. I can't tell you how to write it. I can't tell you to do it or not to do it. Yep, this is just the world according to Lucas that I'm sharing with you, right? So the ark itself has been pulled out of that system or that jurisdiction. Yep, before I knew this stuff, but the ark has been pulled out and I've pulled myself out of that. I've unshipped from their ship, yeah, notice of unshipping, yeah, a rescission of contract, right? Because an express contract or an express the mention of one person is the exclusion of another, or the mention of one thing is the exclusion of all others. So when I come back to life and I say, you know, when you're reborn, you come to the understanding of who you are. You are not a corporate dead entity, therefore you cannot be one, and you cannot act as one, because when you're acting as one, then your actions speak louder than words, right? Actions speak louder than words. Okay, so you've got to send all that stuff back, right? And surrender it, right? Give it back. If that's not where you want to be. If you want to remain in that place, if you want to remain in that standing, in that jurisdiction, then you are subject to your master's will, okay? You are subject to the will of Satan, yeah, Lucifer, whoever it may be that is running that system, because all things, you know, the Luciferian or satanic, I shouldn't say Lucifer, the satanic system, they say the devil runs the world because the world is temporal, it is material, yeah? So, if you cannot let go of the material and the temporal world and worldly possessions, which are tied to your dead entity's name, the all capital name, if you can't release those possessions and those things which tie you to the temporal jurisdiction or realm, yes, if you can't release those, then you are subject to that, yep, and you are owned, you are property, yep, you are declared lost, dead and lost at sea, yeah, you are property of the Vatican, yep, and or Satan, yes, and Satan can do whatever he wants with his property. That's why we're seeing a liquidation right now. I was reading in a part of the Unum Sanctum. Let me see if I can find it. This is one line that I wasn't intending to read, but it came up and it has the word dog in it, okay? Deliver, O God, my soul from the sword, and my only one from the hand of the dog. The hand of the dog. Don't let me be the dead. Let me know who I am. Let me know my true standing under God, under the Creator, the Divine Creator. Yep. Let me know that standing. Do not let me come under the hand of the dog. Yeah, the garter. That system, yeah. This is the line that I wanted to read. I was just above the one I just read. Okay. There had been at the time of the deluge only one ark of Noah, prefiguring the one church, which ark, having been finished to a single cubit, well, this place is 11.111 hectares. I don't know what a cubit is. Having been finished to a single cubit, had only one pilot and guide, i.e. Noah. And we read that outside of this ark, all that subsisted on the earth was destroyed. Everyone will lose their possessions and property. Everyone will lose everything they thought they had, possibly including their lives. Yep, the way it's going and the way the agenda is evidently at right now, where we are, lives are certainly being lost. And, you know, as the property of Satan, Satan does what he wants with his property. The reaper always gets paid, okay? So the ark here is open to those who are willing to release all claim of, who are willing to release all of their contracts to that system. If you are willing to release all of your contracts to that system and therefore put your trust in the divine creator, yeah, and release all of those things, learning to let go, if you are willing to release that system, you can become a member of the ark and be protected by the ark. Yep. I don't know if they're going to be willingly wanting to let go of people, you know, from their system, because they believe that if you owe something to that system, it must be paid. So there may be ways of a kind of quid pro quo, you know, like they release someone from their system or their ship, and that person comes and steps onto the land over here in the ark, and there's some sort of, I don't know, quid pro quo. We'll find out. Okay, so it comes down to trust and releasing. In order to get out of the grips of the system, one must be prepared to release all of the system, which is exactly what I have done. And I put my faith in the divine creator. I put my trust in the creator, and I follow his word or his guide to whatever it is that I have to do. I did all this stuff before this all began, all this pandemic stuff began. I already done all this and all the paperwork, yeah? Because something kept guiding me to do it. And it's becoming more and more apparent as the days go on, and the more I learn and the more that comes in, it's becoming more and more apparent why I did it. And it had to be here in the center of the abyss. Understand that Victoria is the deep south, yep, of the planet. It is the abyss. It is the place for the dead. The abyss is the place of the dead. Melbourne, Victoria is a place of dead souls, because it is the southernmost point besides Tasmania in the globe, right? Therefore, that's why you have the Anubises, yep, wearing the upside down star, which represents Satanism. That's what it means. Yep, you got to understand the symbolism, and they are defined as demons, right? So, because they are governing the dead in the abyss. Yep. That's it. I want to read a couple of things. Actually, I'll probably do another video on this, I think. So people argue that the capital letter names mean nothing and that it's not a different language. It is a completely different language. And if you don't know the signs or the symbols that you're reading, that you're looking at, then you don't know what you're looking at. Yep, and all you can do is all you're doing is operating on the presumption that you know what that says. Yep, and because you're operating on the presumption, it's not up to the judge to tell you, hey, nah, man, you know, that's not really you. That's your presumption, right? So people don't believe that capital letters are a conveyance, yeah, a capitalization of the human being into a corporation or a dead entity. So we've got 11.147 of Chicago Manual of Styles. It defines the all capital language as American Sign Language. Yep. Okay. So that's why when you see, you know, any of the prime ministers or anyone speaking, they have a signer there. Yep. They have someone speaking sign because they are talking to deaf people. People who can't read or understand or won't listen. Yep. Are defined as deaf. It doesn't necessarily mean that you just simply can't hear. Yep. It means that you're not listening, which means that you're ignorant. And if you are ignorant, then you don't know who you are. If you don't know who you are, then you are dead and lost at sea. Right? The Holy See. Yep. Okay, so capitalisation, if we look at the Australian Guide to Legal Citations, yeah, this is what the courts and everything use, right? Parliament. Capitalisation. Capitalisation should be consistent throughout a document. Generally, words should be capitalised only where they appear at the beginning of a sentence, title or heading, or are proper nouns. What is a noun? A noun is something denoting persons, right? By signs and symbols. Yep. So a proper noun, is defined as a person or a thing. A person is defined as either a human being or a corporate entity, a corpse entity, right? A dead entity, okay? That's what a proper noun is. Yep. So it's denoting persons by signs and symbols, okay? However, where it is important to expression for the conveying meaning, However, where it is, now most people would skip past this line. However, where it is important to expression or for conveying meaning, other words may be capitalized. Let's read that again. However, where it is important to expression or for conveying, what is a conveyance? A conveyance at law is a transfer of title. It is a transfer of property. That is what a conveyance is, okay? So, however, where it is important to expression or for conveying meaning, right? So they all capitalize your name, right? They are transferring the title. That is what it is. It's a transference of title. It's capitalizing. It's making it a business. Yep, it is creating bonds and attaching it to that. Okay? So, however, where it is important to expression or for conveying meaning, other words may be capitalized. That's where the all capital name comes in. They are conveying meaning. They are transferring ownership of the meaning of your Christian name, yep, into a corporate name. Yep, a living man, a dead entity. Anubis rules the land of the dead entities. God rules living man. Yep. And the church, Rome, is supposed to either support the living man, because all living men have a right to dominion of the earth, yep, and explore it and all things thereupon. So all living man and woman have a right to dominion of the earth, and because the Vatican controls the earth, yeah, or the dead as well, it has a responsibility to see to it that the living men and women are afforded their dues, or their right to dominion upon the earth. Yes? So the Vatican has two responsibilities now. It has a right to, a responsibility to govern the dead and the lost at sea. Yes? And it has a responsibility because it holds the titles and it governs the Anubises and everyone that are in the dead world. Yeah? It has a responsibility to see to it that the living men and women of the earth are also not restricted or restrained by the rules of the dead, and that they are afforded their rights to dominion over the earth and to travel and live thereupon wherever they so choose. Yep. That's their responsibility. They've got a responsibility to the living and a responsibility to the dead. Okay? That's why the money in the system of the dead, the money is the teacher. Money's not a god, but the people in the system of the dead believe money is a god. Yep. So they are dead. Yeah. They've given up their divine creator. Yep. In belief of money, one eye. Yep. The control system that is the money. But the money is simply a mechanism for teaching the soul. Yep. Some people, yeah, they want to take that money and make a big rope out of it, and they want to hang their soul. Some people have experiences with money and they learn from those experiences, and they have a soul growth through those experiences with the money and material realm. So what we're going through now is a massive awakening, because people are going to have their material foundations shaken to the core. Yep, they have no option. It is the only way that humanity is going to come together in a unified, conscious, collective effort to unite for its own survival. Yep. So in order for the soul to grow and evolve, the dead must be put in a position, yep, where their soul has no option, because the dead will not, or the people will not, the persons will not, yep, voluntarily give up their material possessions and their temporal belongings. They will not do it. They are too attached. So the hand of God steps in and it shakes the foundations and it takes it away, and it says, right, now you are going to learn what it means to be unified as a collective organism. You are going to learn, or you are going to perish. Yes? And your soul may come back and do it again. That's what's going on right now. Yep. The temporal world, the dead system, is having its core, its foundation ripped out from under it, yep, by the divine creator, to force the human race to remember itself and to come together as a collective effort in communities. Yep. That's why people must start growing foods. Yep. If you've got seed banks and heaps of seeds, sending them out and getting people to grow them, right? Doing whatever we can to build these communities and work together. That is where the soul is going to get the lesson. It's going to lose its temporal foundation, and it's going to have nothing to hang on to except trust, yep, and unity as a collective to survive. And that's how it has to be, because the earth is at a stage where it can no longer sustain the way of life we are living. I'm sorry to say it, but that is the truth. Yep. We are raping and pillaging and killing and destroying our mother, which means if we continue to do it, we will all perish. Yes? Therefore, it must stop. And in the midst of that stop, there too comes the soul's evolution and the awakening of mankind. Because they will have no option. They will either grab onto the life raft and unify as a collective and just work together, or they will try and hang on to that system as long as they can, and they will refuse to let it go, and they will perish. Period. I'm just going to read this one out. This comes from Code of Professional Responsibility, Canon 8. Canon 8 EC 88. Code of Professional Responsibility. Lawyers often serve as legislators or as holders of other public offices. This is highly desirable as lawyers are uniquely qualified to make significant contributions to the improvement of the legal system. Yep. A lawyer who is a public officer, whether full or part-time, should not engage in activities in which his personal or professional interests are or foreseeably may be in conflict with his official duties. Any politician, you're breaking Canon 8.8. Yep. Any politician who's making policies to further their own pocket and agenda is breaking Canon 8.8. It seems that these politicians who are supposed to be working for the Vatican and Rome are breaking all the canons. What does that mean for you? Only time will find out. Time will tell. Maybe only when you get to here and you are put on the scales with Anubis leading you there, the dog of the underworld, the guardian of the dead, leading you to the scales. Yep. That seems to be what the Garda or the police are doing right now, isn't it? It is leading all the souls to the scales, right? That's what they're doing. They are forcing everyone to stay in their homes as they're being cooked and destroyed. The dogs are leading the dead to the scales of justice as we speak right now. Worldwide. Pretty interesting. Really interesting stuff. Hey, John, good to see you, mate. Long time no speak. John is an amazing man. He has a book called let me see if I can find it. Of course, the Heavenly Ark of the Covenant. I don't know if John agrees with everything I'm saying, but he's, shared a lot of wisdom and information with me. He's an old battler, and he's been doing this for many, many years. And a lot of respect for you, John. Blessed to know you, brother. And, yeah. The Heavenly Ark of the Covenant is John's book. It was accepted into the Library of Egyptology, I believe, in the UK. I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. And John would like to get this book out. So if there's anyone who is in the printing industry or who can assist John, his name's John Whitehouse. Yeah, look him up on Facebook. He kind of looks a bit like Santa. He's got just white grey hair and a beard there. Please contact John and assist him in getting this book printed out so that he can share it with as many as possible. It's his life's work, and it's got some amazing information in there. So really worth getting out to people. Or contact me because I have a copy of it. If you can get this copied, at a decent price, and you know, we can put it out there, right, and raise funds, yes, to continue building the heavenly ark. Right, so if those who wish to release and relinquish their ties to that system, yes, to that corporate system, if you are willing and wanting to do that, then we can do that. And if you want to become a person in faith or in trust of the ark, yeah, which may well be the one last place on earth that doesn't get destroyed by the system, yeah, because I have sent the proper documents off to the Vatican, and you know, things happen. Yep, things in this realm and in other realms happen directly and indirectly, and I believe and I trust that this place is what it is. It is a holy land. It is the holy ark, and if people need to come here, then it is open. But I do not want anyone who wants to come here and not assist. If you are not willing to be part of the community, then do not come here. If you are not willing to assist, do not come here, because it is like bare ground. That means everyone needs to put work in to reap the benefit, yeah? To grow food, to help each other make shelter, yep? And one other idea I'd like to do, now I know a person who has recently been arrested and labelled as a really bad criminal, yep, in Victoria out there. What I would like to do, and this goes in hand with what I said about amnesty for all. What I would like to do is take that man, yep, and bring him here, yes, and instead of having them locked up and locking up their souls and confining their souls and not having any healing for the soul, because this is all about the soul. This is bigger than the earth. This is all about the soul. Soul's evolution. Yep. Advancing the human soul for further human evolution. Right? So I'd like to bring that man here. Yep. And have him stay here and work at the ark with me. One particular man. And if I can do it with him, then I can do it with anybody. Yep. And once you see his record, you will understand if I can do it with him, you can do it with anybody. I mean, we can do it with anybody. And I won't be able to do it by myself. I'll need people to help and assist. Yep. But this is all part of the massive awakening. Yep. So I'd like to put that out there. I would like to get that man, bring him here, and you know, whatever the conditions may be, yep, I would like to pull him out of that jurisdiction and bring him into this jurisdiction. And when he steps off this jurisdiction or out of this jurisdiction, he then becomes back into your jurisdiction. But I would like to show what we can do with lost souls and broken souls. I would really like to show that. And by taking that soul and by fixing that soul and having that soul then create for a community and give them purpose. You see, most criminals are criminals because they don't have a purpose in life. It's been taken away from them. They have no purpose. Yep, they have no avenues for growth and creation. Give them the avenues for growth and creation. Yep, give them the opportunity to have that avenue, instead of just locking up and confining the soul, and watch what happens to humanity in a long term. Yep. So that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to put that out there. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say. Remember that I know there's a lot of anger out there, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of stuff, and there is going to be a lot of anger, and there is a lot of stress. And what I'm going to say is that everyone, it doesn't matter if they're perceived as good or bad, everyone right now on this planet is playing a role. And the role that they are playing is in order to bring to light the necessity of awakening. So the acts that are perceived as bad are forcing an awakening process for the souls who have been in that comfort zone and who otherwise would not be looking at that or growing from that. So the perceived bad ultimately will turn out to be good, because it forces the awakening of the souls, and it is the soul that is the most important thing. It is eternal. Yes? It is the highest jurisdiction because it is eternal. It is the most important thing. The temporal, the body, the physical life is very important, because this is our stepping stone. This is how we evolve and learn. Yep. Hence reincarnation. You don't want to learn this life? Come back next life. You want to learn next life? Come back next life. You might have to wait out there for a bit in the deep abyss. Who knows? Yeah. You might have to wait out there for a year or 6 million years. Who knows? Depends on your soul and its preparatory growth or stages. Right? So yeah, I think that's it. Hope you're enjoying the video. Please share it. Please share it. Please share it. It's really important that people understand what's going on. Yeah, and we perceive things as good as bad, but good and bad. But let's see it for what it is in the long run, from a higher perspective. Yep, for what it is, because the acts of man are the acts of God. Right? God is within all things. It is omnipresent. He's omnipresent. Yep. So everything that is happening now is for a reason. Trust in that. I know, personally myself, I've been angry, frustrated, upset, stressed, sad, blaming. I've done all these things, all of them. And it's easy to do that. Yep. But if we want to come together, we must have a higher understanding or a higher perspective of what's going on. Look at it from a higher perspective. Yep. And then once we see the higher perspective and we know where we're going, yep, now we know where we're going. It's about awakening the soul and bringing humanity together as a collective. We can start working towards that end goal instead of fighting to hold on to something that's already gone and that cannot be again. Once we learn and accept to release that, yep, then we can move forward to the goal, which is collective consciousness. Yep. And that can be achieved by collective unity in the temporal, which is being forced upon us right now. Right? So, John Greg says, where is that in the word? I'm not sure which word you're talking about. I'm not sure which phrase you're talking about. Sorry, John. Yeah, so I don't know. And I don't really read much of the Bible. But, and the reason I don't read much of the Bible or any religious text is because information comes to me. And I don't want that information to be tainted by anything else or anybody else. To me, my role is to give that information as I see it. Yep, as it comes to me. And I'm not always right, and I'm sometimes wrong. Yeah, and I make mistakes, and I learn from my mistakes. And I'm subject to my my physical body, yep, and drives, and I'm learning from that as I go. I cannot teach that which I do not know, and I cannot know that which I do not experience. Yep. So, teaching from someone else's experience, yep, or trying to give evidence from someone else's experience like all these doctors do, or psychiatrists, well, in a court of law, that is hearsay. If you have not directly experienced it, yep, it is hearsay. It has no weight in evidence, none whatsoever. Yep. So how can a psychiatrist who's been to school for 20 years, who hasn't had any experience, be of any value? I don't know. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. Maybe he's just indoctrinated in a certain way to produce a certain result, which is what they're doing. But anyway, that's another subject and another story. So thanks for tuning in. Please share this video, download it, upload it to whatever sites, and many blessings from the Ark, from Dusty Star, Nubuses, and may your journey be great and your lessons be real. And through those lessons, may we heal. Many blessings, much love from the Ark. Please share.